do. Step into the space where the roots run deep, where the sun meets the soil and the stories speak. Every leaf, every bloom got a tale to tell, from the lows in the dirt to the highs that swell. This is Grow House, yeah, we flourish and thrive, planting seeds of change, keeping dreams alive. It's more than just green, it's the life we create, breaking through the cracks, let's elevate. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Welcome to Grow House. We grow, we grow. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow. Welcome to Grow House. We grow, we grow.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Grow House. We're now on our 8th episode. If you're new here, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe so you don't miss our next one. Today we're going to have a super exciting guest. It's been a long time waiting, so I'm super pumped that he's finally here. So we're going to talk all about tissue cultures. So a lot of you reptile people, aquatic people here, this is going to be pretty informational for you if you are liking TCs. Sounds like Rytas has a new niche, not so new, but he's focusing on it again, so we'll give him some time to talk about that. But we're also doing the most baller giveaway today. I'm so excited. I don't even have one of these plants yet, so one of you guys will be able to, you know, have a chance to win it. So I'm super excited. We'll get into those details a little bit later after we have a chance for Micro to go over, you know, what it is, as well as we'll go over some of the rules. It's going to be very similar to how we've always done our giveaways. So I'm super excited. You might notice I'm somewhere new, so I am traveling to see some family, so I don't have all of my plants here. I do have some beautiful fake plants. And if there's any echo, I apologize. We're in an empty room trying to escape the kiddos. But big shout out to Mike from Herb Collectors Network, of course, for giving us the opportunity to have a podcast to teach all of you guys this, give a spotlight to some of the most amazing sellers that I've met on my own plant journey, and just have a good time and hang out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Microcultivate on. Hey, how are you?
How's it going, Veronica?
It's fantastic. I'm super excited to have you here. Like I said, it's been a long time running. So yeah, super happy to come. And you have your warehouse now. You have so many things set up, so many new changes, and just like you're moving forward and you're going up. And I'm super happy to see that. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Better. Wait, did you see those plants were fake behind you?
Yeah, they are.
Oh my
I actually
God.
took them. My mother-in-law has like little fake plants all over, and I was like, I need to put something in my background. So yeah, they're fake, unfortunately, but
I'm just messing with you. Yeah, no, everything's going good. Second warehouse of the year. Second time, hopefully, is a charm, not third. Yeah, making things happen finally.
That the first experience didn't go well. I actually just watched your little reel on Instagram about that one. Obviously, I kind of knew what was going on, but I'm hoping this one works out a lot better for you.
So far, so good.
Good. I'm happy. All right, so let's get into it. I want you to tell everyone, like, what do you bring to the plant industry? Like, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, my name is Rytas. I'm a 4th generation commercial grower. I produce high quality, rare tropical tissue cultures for the community. I also have a pretty good education background, like teaching people about tissue culture and how to acclimate them, and other growing advice as well. Past that.
That's awesome. And how did you jump into tissue cultures? Where'd that come from?
Well, I worked in the commercial cannabis industry for the better part of 10 years through my 20s. And I learned about tissue culture when I was working at a commercial cannabis facility. And it kind of just stayed in the back of my head for many years. And then COVID hit. I had some downtime to start researching it, tried it out, and here we are 2.5 years later.
Oh man. So do they tissue culture cannabis?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of applications for commercial cannabis. One of the main ones is genetic preservation. So a commercial cannabis cultivation, they'll have like their set mothers, their strains that they produced, and you can store the genetics in tissue culture so that if you ever lose that mother, you can just pull those genetics back and continue growing them. That's one of the uses.
That's very interesting. And it's because I feel like, at least for me, tissue culture, like I never even heard of it until houseplants, like I had never even heard of it. It was I can't remember. You were probably one of the first persons that kind of introduced tissue culturing to me. I've seen them like once in a while on Etsy and maybe like Stacy's Garden. Maybe you two were like the first people, and I'm just like, what is
it's kind of crazy because I mean the technology's been around since I think it was invented in the 30s, and it's like widely known in the 50s, but like just now people are starting to realize where most of our plants and our food and all that stuff comes from is tissue culture. It's just been kind of under the radar for decades for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, they really did, because I think it would scare people. I'll be completely honest. Like when I first learned about it, I was just like, they can do this. Like what else can they do? And apparently they've been able to do this for, like you said, since the 50s, and it's insanity. Like what else do they know that they can do? It's do you think that tissue cultures have helped shape the houseplant industry? Like what positives or maybe negatives do you think it's come, or have you what's your opinion on that? Like how
I think there's definitely far more positives than there are negatives. I think some of the positives are people mostly awareness, people understanding what it is. Maybe you live in a spot where you can't get plants shipped to you very easily, but you can get TCs shipped to you and you can grow them out yourself. I don't think there's many negatives, if any at all, that I can consider significant. I think that it kind of helps people learn a little bit more of the science when they're growing their plants rather than just putting them under a light and watering them.
Watering them once in a while, yeah, definitely.
Right.
And you're able to provide someone a plant at a cheaper price, so they can, instead of having to wait years sometimes for a price to go down, they can try their luck and grow it from this tiny cute little thing, and then they have this dream plant. And that's something that people always lean on, is they're like, I'm able to get my dream plant. And that's I think that's awesome. And
Sure.
a lot of people can have, there's a learning curve to it. Like we'll talk about what people maybe struggle with the most, and how you're here to help us figure out how to remedy that. But I've always liked deflasking and watching my little babies grow. I do not have 100% success rate, so I make sure I buy in bulk, but that's because I'm not as meticulous as maybe I should be. Or maybe I'll learn something new tonight to help me out there. Are there any recent trends coming around since you started and really became well known, because you are very well known in this part of the industry? Are there any trends with TCs? How does that work? I know really nothing.
I mean, it's a similar answer to the other questions. The main trend is people just becoming aware of it and getting excited about it. And like I said, it's kind of forcing them to learn a little bit more about the science of growing plants rather than the generic throw under light sort of thing. Yeah, and to speak to your 100% success rate, nobody should have 100% success rate. I mean, if you grow enough TCs from TC, some are going to die. I mean, there's a lot of variance between genetics and environment.
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit. Can you, I don't know, I think maybe, yeah, just move up there. That should be good.
Sorry, is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, you shouldn't, I mean, if you've acclimated enough TCs, you shouldn't have 100% success rate to make you feel better.
Okay, well that does make me feel better. I'm about like 60, so I don't know, maybe that's good.
Yeah.
But I work with very easy plants, like just so I can watch them grow. They're not something I'm trying to like sell off, but so I can watch them grow. And my daughter really likes to watch them grow. She loves when I get like the packs of pink princesses, and then she'll even want to have them in her room so she can watch them. It's the cutest thing. So do you buy like super expensive, like the unicorn plants to tissue culture them, right? You do?
I have, yes.
Yes. How does that work? Like how do you pick?
Well, I mean, I've only done it a handful of times where I've spent a ridiculous amount of money. And the only reason I did so is because nobody else had that plant here in the US so far. So I figured if I, rolled the dice and got a few in and I was able to multiply it, I would be one of the few people, if not the only person that has it for a period of time. And the Blooming Heart Pink was one of those. I mean, I spent a lot of money to get the first one last May, multiplied it successfully, and then I kind of had the crown on that one for like a couple months.
No, definitely. It's well deserved for sure. There was one that you bought at a plant con last year or 2 years ago. Did that one work out, or did you not? What was it? It was an anthurium.
Yeah, I haven't TC'd any anthuriums. I was just a big mother plant that I wanted to have to try to breed.
It was a gorgeous plant.
And actually, yeah, Shannon and I just successfully bred it for the first time. We have seedlings popping from that plant. I bred it with one of her anthuriums. Yeah.
Oh, that's badass. You guys are gonna have to send me a picture of it. That's so cool. I love that. So do you keep up on any active trends with like just in general house plants to like see like, is this something I should grab and try, or I know you've kind of stepped in a little bit, because before you didn't really like have any of house plants of your own that you would like grow out and keep. So have you kind of switched over to that side and started keeping some plants?
Yeah, now that I have a little bit more space and I have a little bit more time, yeah, I definitely have some plants that are going dear to my heart. In terms of trends, I mean, from a production perspective, I think trends can be a very dangerous thing. I think things change so quickly. As a seller, yeah, you can kind of, get in there quick at times, but from a production standpoint, some of these plants take, 6 months to a year to really see any type of production happen to even get sales. And
Really?
I've learned that in this industry, things just move a little bit too quick to kind of lay all the tips on a trend and hope it's going to pay off down the road.
Yeah, it's kind of like the stock market, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, we were just talking about that, me and Drea, on our last podcast about how the trends just go so fast. It's like I've purchased what was it? I think it was a variegated abdones. I cannot. Philodendron abda. That's what people call them. It's like it's green and pink. They're beautiful plants, but their trend was like up and down in 6 weeks. So by the time I got my plant, it was over, and I was like,
yeah, wow.
I just spent $500 on this, and now I'm not going to be able to make $500 back.
Yeah. Well,
So that sucked.
Get cuts now. Well, feelers take a long time to get cuts as well.
Yes, yeah, they definitely do. And even if I wanted to cut it like right away and like root it out quick, like it does not root quick. So I just kept it for my own, and I ended up selling it, I think, for probably exactly what I purchased it as it was like 2 or 3 times bigger. So, I mean, it's whatever. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. That's just what it is. Do you have a favorite plant right now that you're just gagging over?
My favorite plant has been the Blooming Heart Pink, but now it's shifting more towards the variegated mellows, the mellow aria and the mellow alba. I have some pretty ridiculous mothers that are pumping out forms.
Have you seen the orange ones?
Orange ones, no.
What'd you say, Milano or no?
No, mellow. Alocasia mellow.
Oh, yes. So
The
you like
super,
allocations.
The super textured one?
Yes,
Yeah.
those are pretty cool. They're beautiful. I've seen some really gorgeous, like huge mama ones. I like when they're really big. When they're small, I'm not super into them, but when they're really big, I do like those because they kind of look like a brain to me. Their texture, the way they ruffle a little bit, kind of just reminds me of a brain. Anyway, so you're liking those. So do you like to TC those, or is that just like, do you really just like alocasias?
Alocasia is my favorite type of plant in the house plant realm. Mainly because I mean it's a producer,
It
so
is, yes.
and I think people like to buy them because they produce. So even if
Yes.
you get caught in a market dive, you can
Yep.
still get some forms out of it and get out of it okay. The philos, I really don't like philos that much for that reason. They take forever to grow, they take forever to cut and root,
Yes.
and by that time, a lot of things can happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was saved by corms with a couple of my alocasias, my variegated ones, because they like we've talked about the trend. It goes so quick, and then once some people are bored of it and they sell it for cheap, then it just it kind of tanks. But luckily they are producers, and so you can flip those corms as long as you need to essentially make all of the money back, and then you can sell the mother plant for whatever it goes for, which
Well,
sometimes it goes for decent, but sometimes it doesn't. But if you sell those corms, then you can at least make some money back.
yeah, you
Go
could
ahead.
keep the mother plant in your collection for yourself and just
Yes,
sell
yeah,
the corms and the
yeah.
pups to make your money back and have that plant for free eventually.
Yes, if you want to take care of it. I I didn't want to take care of it anymore because alocasias, they are one of my loves for sure. They were one of the first houseplants that I really hyper fixated on and got a bunch, and it was the first things I was selling because to me they were easy to grow. But after I got into monsteras, I got into even anthurium, are sometimes way more low maintenance than an alocasia. Um, After I got into those, I was like, yeah, these I don't have to water for 2 weeks. My alocasias I have to put into some sort of self-watering, or I have to really, really give a shit and stay on top of it, which just is not my lifestyle. So
They're high maintenance.
they are like, I'm okay if you just like humidity because I can deal with humidity, but if you need like water weekly or multiple times a week, no. And they're so picky with what they like to grow in, and buyers are so picky with what they want their plant growing in. And so I've had several people not want to buy from me because I grow strictly in moss, and I'm just like, that's just what works for me. So if you don't want to deal with it, go find someone else. That's fine. I have no issues with that. But the stratum that people are using right now, I hate that. You use that, don't you, for your TCs?
I use it sometimes though. I use it for some of the more expensive, like the more expensive rare alocasia TCs. Also use stratum, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a
People
few.
didn't want to buy from me because you use moss. Why can't they just transplant into what they like? I don't understand.
Well, right, and that's the thing. But the reason people don't like moss is because the roots grow into it so well that it's hard to get all of the moss off when you want to transfer it into some other media. And so I get it. I mean, I've dealt with it many of times where some of my own plants, like in the house, I'll put them in soil, or some, not really soil, but a different type of mix. And it is not the easiest, but I'm not that careful. I'll just spray most of it off, and if it lives, it lives. If it dies, I'm sorry, it dies. I don't care that much. I know you say that trends are maybe dangerous, but do you have anything else that like you maybe have your eye on, or is there something that like you inspire to create at some point?
Alocasia hybrids, yeah. I think that's one thing that you're going to see more of in the upcoming future. I'm
Are you
starting to
able
see.
to tell us any more other than alocasia hybrids?
How do you mean?
Do you have any like specific ideas in your mind?
No, I think that alocasias are very, very difficult to breed. I think anthuriums actually remind me of cannabis, where it's like you're trying to prevent them from breeding. They breed so easily. People just chuck pollen around in their seeds, and I think there's some really good anthurium breeders out there that have spent years, you know, developing their lineage, and then there's a lot of people out there just chucking pollen around and getting seeds. So like, but alocasia, I think, is very difficult for the pollen to take. I think there's timing and compatibility issues, but I'm starting to see some people do it online and start working towards
really?
it. Yeah,
Issues in the US or no?
I've seen a couple people do it in the US, and then I've seen some people do it abroad as well. But I'm starting to see those reels and that content pop up, and that's something I'm very interested in learning.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see like what you were able to create. Like, I mean, when you brung out the balloon hearts, I was just like, that's pretty badass. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've never really heard of anyone breeding alocasias, because can you do it by flower, or how else would you do it? By flower?
Yeah, it's done by flower and pollen, but I think the timing and compatibility is very tricky. So I think it takes a lot of tries, and it takes a lot of having the right two plants, and that can take, you know, a lot of time and effort, which.
Oh, definitely. I mean, sometimes it can take years. I mean, I've had several alocasias, and I like to think I treat them well, but I've only had a few flowers, and I cut them off right away because they fucking stink. They smell so bad.
Yeah, we went to Vegas, and my one of my super expensive alocasia mamas spit up 3 flowers when I was gone, and it destroyed the entire plant because all the energy went to the flowers and the leaves like burned off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I would be pissed. How did you feel about it? Were you like, oh, that's cool, but I'm mad, or like, what did you think?
Yeah, both of those.
Yeah, that's interesting. Did you take a picture of it? I'd like to see it.
I do have some pictures somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to send me a picture. I think that's awesome. All right, what first drew you to houseplants, and when did it become more than a hobby? So we talked about this a little bit before the show. And then you were obviously in the cannabis industry, but what made you pick up on houseplants?
Well, I mean, I've growing my whole life, so I mean, growing all types of plants. I love to grow everything. I came here and started my business to produce aquarium tissue cultures, and I started doing that, producing a ton of aquarium tissue cultures, and the houseplant market was just exploding at the time, and it just made sense to transfer over. And then I fell in love with some choice plant types like alocasia and philodendrons, monsteras, stuff like that. Just kind of happened.
That's awesome. How did you get into, like, what did you have to do to learn? Like, I know you had like heard of it through, you know, cannabis, but how did you learn what you know now? Like, how long did it take you? Like, what steps did you take?
It really didn't take long. I was expecting it to take at least 6 months for me to get my first clean transfer under my belt. I kind of did some DIY techniques to try to do it, and I was pretty successful with that for the first couple. Really just trial and error and research, and willing to lose plants and spend money. It's how I learned.
Yeah, we always got to spend a little money, right?
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's awesome. That's how, like, what is the most difficult part of it? Like, when you were going through the learning process, like, did you have anything that like just stumped you, or is it really just that easy?
It's not that easy by any means. Yeah, there's a lot of things that stump me, but I mean, I don't know. I just kind of figured it out. I'm constantly figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out. It's not like I had it solved or anything. It's an endless lifetime of opportunities with tissue culture. There's so much more that you can do with tissue culture than people realize. Like, I'm basically just multiplying basic plants, but there's like 50 other levels that I'm not even at yet, basically.
Interesting. What type of plant besides aquatics? Because we said aquatics was one of the easiest. They grow really fast. Have you tried vegetables? Have you tried cannabis?
I have not tried vegetables. I think I did try cannabis once, but that wasn't successful, and I didn't have a reason to continue trying.
You should try some vegetables.
For sure. I would like to try tomatoes.
Oh, tomatoes. Yeah.
Like,
Is there any laws about that? Like, because I know like they make seedless watermelons or something, so you can't grow the watermelons. Or what is that? There's
well,
some fruit out there that I know they
yeah,
do something to, so you can't regrow them.
well, yeah, that goes back to the how do people not know about tissue cultures? Like there's seedless grapes and there's seedless watermelons out there. Like
Yeah.
where do those come from? How do people grow
Oh
those?
my
Well,
God, I didn't even think about that. They're all being
they're
tissue
produced
cultured.
in PC. That's how.
I'm dead. You guys were all eating tissue culture vegetables and fruit. If you didn't know that, now you know now. How would you describe your growth, as a plant seller and, maybe personal the last year? I know you've done a lot of changing. There's a lot of growth that's been happening. It's been pretty incredible. Really the last 2-3 years. I mean, how long we've known each other? Two years?
But two
Yeah.
probably.
It's been absolutely insanity. So tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, live selling is crazy. There's no reason why any business starting out should grow that fast. I probably grew way too fast in the first year, and kind of, pulling back on the reins and doing things a little bit differently, and setting the foundation blocks that probably should have been set before live selling.
Definitely. Well, what I've learned working for Palm Street, startup app, is that you got to move fast and fix things later. So what are some of the biggest milestones that you've gone through?
Live selling to begin with. I mean, I was terrified. I did not want to live sell at all. I thought I was just going to produce a gazillion plants and sell to all the live sellers until eventually that didn't work. I'm like, damn, I got to do this.
Yeah, I remember you didn't get on camera, like your face wasn't on camera forever, and no one knew what you looked like. You were just this mysterious guy. I loved it. No, it was fantastic. And so, yeah, that's a huge step. What else?
What was the question? Milestones, like growth
Yeah,
in the
like a big
past year?
milestones in the last year or 2 years.
I mean, just getting to the stage that I'm at now. I mean, the whole past year was be able to build a big enough following, figure out my formulas, figure out how to produce a lot of the plants that I'm producing, and generate enough revenue to get to the state that I'm at now, where I can actually start team building and operating like a real business rather than just a fleeting plant flipper.
Yeah. Yeah, but you are also in a new warehouse, which is pretty amazing. It's been really awesome. I've seen quite a few sellers, well, I won't say quite a few, but plenty of sellers go from, just being in one room of their house to, being able to open up a shop, move to a bigger location, get a warehouse. Like, that's pretty incredible. Like, what you're going to be able to produce and do now is going to change everything.
Yeah, sorry. So I'll continue that answer. So I started when I first started researching tissue culture. It was during COVID. I was on my farm helping out my father. He couldn't get his offshore workers that year. I had a little bit of downtime in the winter. I started researching. I tried it out. I was successful, and then I put a business plan together and moved back to the States. And I started out my first mini lab in my grandmother's garage in Arizona. Started from there, moved to a house, was operating mostly out of a house all last year, and then moved to Florida in December. And this 3,000 square foot facility to work with.
That's awesome.
If
That
that's a
is.
better answer.
No, I mean, that's perfect. That just shows like how much work you've put in and like how much you've done, and like it's very exciting because once you get to that point, like there's just so much more you can do, so much more opportunity. You have so much space. Like there's you're employing people now. Like that is just wicked. It's so cool. And so I'm super excited to see, in 1 year where you are with that warehouse. Maybe you're still in the same one, maybe you get a bigger one. Like, let's see, like, where do you go from here? It's very, very exciting. And then, is there any specific moment that shifted like your presence? Like, is there anything that like happened or whatever that just made you like, okay, like I got to do this. I want to make sure I get this done. Like, what keeps you motivated?
I mean, the progression, the plants, learning more about it, learning more how to, how to produce them, how to sell them, how to do everything. I mean, there's so many variables going on. There's so many things to improve on that it's really hard to stay stagnant when there's so many things you can choose to,
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah, no, that just seems like an open playing field, and like it's just a constant game, and you kind of get just to see like or even maybe a puzzle, if you will. So you can have so many angles and different avenues that you can take and just keep learning and exploring. Do you have like a end game, like an end goal?
An end goal.
Yeah.
I mean, some of my goals is, I mean, I want to be one of the biggest producers in the U.S. That's one of them. One of my goals is I want to, contribute to saving an endangered species through TC, and then
Love that.
educational stuff. I can teach other people how to do what I'm doing as well.
Have you thought of having a podcast of your own so you can teach people?
Thought about it, but I mean, it just seems like a lot of time and a lot of effort that I don't have right now. But maybe at some point, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, it definitely can be, and it's something that you have to stick with, and so I hope I see that one day. I think that there would be a lot of people interested, in, even just a YouTube channel, have someone follow you around with a camera, and just
I have a couple shorts out there. Pretty much just my Instagram reels that I threw up.
a couple shorts on there. Yeah. Did they blow up? Did they do well?
Well, what well is considered on YouTube. They're getting some views, so it's not a bad thing.
Okay, no, it's not that, even a couple views is sometimes all you need for it to be shared to the right person, and then it can go crazy.
Right.
And then we're going to talk a little bit more about your prized plant and the giveaway that we have today. Do you have it with you?
I have right in front of me.
Oh, awesome. Okay, guys. So this is the time if you're here from Instagram, you kind of already know the rules, but our giveaway, go ahead and tell them what it is.
This is, where's my camera? Over here. An Alocasia balloon heart pink. I wish it was in one of my Brandon microcultivate jars, but it's not.
It's gorgeous. It's got some really beautiful variegation on it.
So that, I mean, that variegation looks white right now, but it'll turn
It's gonna be
bubblegum
pink.
pink.
Yeah, it'll be really bright pink. It's gonna be stunning. That's amazing. So if you guys want to enter to win that, go ahead and take a screenshot of this and post on your story to come join or watch a replay and tag me. My @ is right here on the bottom, and then we have Microcultivate's @ down going through, and of course you have to tag Herb Collectors Network. You can tag throughout any time of the video, but definitely post on your story, have people watch the replay, and Micro will get this sent out to you. It's absolutely amazing. I had a few people message me and they're like, "Oh, I gotta tune in tonight because I want that." Like, I want
Oh yeah.
that one. What is its value?
That one, I mean, I'm sure I could probably sell it for like 350 to 400. And on top of that, not only we're gonna give away the balloon heart, but I'm also gonna include an acclimation kit with my step-by-step instructions. Just in case someone wins it that's never acclimated a TC before, this will give them the tools that they need to do that.
Perfect. That's awesome. I meant to ask you that because I was gonna I was gonna be like, oh, we need to make sure we send that out too, just in case. But that's awesome. That's gonna be a super, super beautiful giveaway, and whoever gets that, definitely please send pictures to all of us so we can see what it looks like when it's grown and unflashed. How long do you think whoever wins it, do you think they should keep it in the jar?
Well, this one was transferred on the 9th, the date's on it. So you can actually keep it in the jar for quite a while and let it get bigger and grow into that jar. But
Yeah.
if you don't want to do that, you could acclimate it as well. But I would suggest keeping it in there for a while and letting it get a little bigger, maybe another couple set of leaves. You get into that process and then acclimating it.
It's got plenty of room to grow, so that's going to be a pretty badass plant. I'm pretty excited for whoever gets it.
Me too.
How many of those have you produced? Do you know?
I don't know. A couple hundred at least.
Oh, wow. That's intense. So, how did you what is the backstory on that? Can you share a little bit? Like, is that something that you hybridize that, right?
I didn't know. I did not hybridize it. It was
Oh,
just a, well, yeah, it was just a plant that nobody had about it. I think last May I got my hands on it. And I remember people asking about it, like they were going to plant conventions looking for it. Maybe there'd be one, and there were thousands of dollars. And then I saw it on a list from a supplier overseas, and I pulled the trigger on buying. I think I started with 2, and it cost me thousands of dollars to get those first 2. And I cut them. You know, I transferred them. I made a reel on my Instagram of me cutting the first one. The first one got contaminated. I had to like save it because I was trying to make that reel.
Oh
but,
gosh.
But the second one, the formula that I tried on it was very, very successful. And from that one, you know, came all the rest. I haven't bought any more since those first 2 a year ago.
That's awesome. Do you still have one of the original ones? Or did
Well, these are all babies from that original one.
That's pretty cool. So I still don't see people having, like, unless they are like grown out TCs, I don't see anyone buying them. So where did they go?
How do you mean? I see people have them.
Maybe unless they like are purchased as a TC and people are unflasking them. Like, I don't see anyone buying like a mother plant.
I've seen some other plants kicking around.
Oh, I haven't seen hardly any. Only like ones that I know that are, but they're probably still really expensive. Yeah.
I think that the people that have the mother plants are selling the forms right now. They're not letting the mother plants go.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably very true. And what are the prices for the corms?
I don't know. I haven't even grown one out big enough to have a corm. It's so sad. I've been producing them for a year. I don't even have a corming mother yet.
Oh, I see. Speaking of corms, I was reading a post the other day, and I don't know what it was. It was something about like how gosh, I wish I could pull it up right now. Like, I don't know. People were asking about like how other people feel about TCs. And I was interested because I know like a year ago there was so much drama regarding it. Like it was like a hot topic. And I feel like it's definitely slowed down. Like it's majorly slowed down, and like every comment under it was positive now. Like, this is my TC, you know, da 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 da. I also saw in there that people feel that the variegation is actually more stable in TCs. And then also that now they did say if when it's, you know, small, it has like really good stable, you know, whatever, like what did they say, even or whatever, like well balanced variegation. And then when it grows, they have really stable variegation versus taking a corm from a mother plant, where still, I mean, in all the corm posts you do see like I can't promise variegation, but this person in particular felt that she's had more success with stable variegation in a TC than taking corms from a mother plant. How do you feel about that? Do you know?
I think that these are very dicey topics to debate because nobody knows anything. I mean, who knows which type of TCs that person is acclimated? You know, there's a lot of variables. With the corms, like, yeah, it's not producing any leaves yet, so yeah, it might pop out a plant that doesn't have variegation. TC, you can see the variegation on it already. But I think there's just way too many variables to even know what's what. I mean, unless someone is sitting down for a year, like logging all the data, having the same grow system for a corm and a TC of that plant, and then like cross-referencing the results.
Well,
that person might have an idea of what they're talking about.
Yes, a few people in those comments have said they've done exactly that. Hey guys, they've done exactly that. They've compared, or they have, you know, whatever, they're paying attention. But also I saw that people felt, and this was more than one, people felt that TC allocations corm a ton more than any like a regular plant.
It's so hard to know what the back data is on that, because I mean, regular allocators that are not variegated, they corm a lot more than variegated ones, and the reason being is because they're able to convert more light energy than a variegated one, right? They're photosynthesizing more. And that makes logical sense. So when people are comparing, these open-ended, ideas of a TC producing more corn, well, like what plant is that? Where did you get it from? It's like so many questions I ask to like kind of figure out if that's the truth or not. But really, a really long-term, controlled scientific study would be able to give you like a good educated guess on if that's an accurate statement or not. I think these people just have their own
I won't do
experience and then they
that,
come
but
to
I will
conclusions and start saying,
I'll listen to what everyone else has. But one thing I will say is that I've noticed as far as the drama regarding TCs, like now I feel like everyone's pretty much happy that we have them. There's not really a ton of haters, because there was haters. They're like, oh, don't do this. But like in all reality, like you've said, we've been doing this for how long? Like this is just it is what it is. We want to bring people their dream plant, at a cheaper cost, or a more, not even just cheaper cost, just more obtainable. You're making them more obtainable. And I think there's always a plant that's going to come in and swoop, be the new trending that everyone wants. And so like, whatever, let's just allow people to have their plans.
yeah.
Did you feel you got any like backlash for TCing?
Oh yeah, people hate
Yeah.
me for TC.
I wasn't
Yeah,
sure
I
if it
think
ever actually reached you, or if it's just people chattering,
I think there's a lot to it. I think that there's people that are, have what they know going on for a period of time, and then there's this new thing that comes in that kind of
Oh,
disrupts
definitely.
that, and
Yeah.
instead of adapting to that new thing, they're just, kind of shitting on it a little bit.
Yep. No, I agree. And
um,
people don't like change. That's just what
yeah,
it is. People don't like change. And, I can definitely see why some people felt threatened by it, but ultimately, like, that's just not the case. Like, people are going to continue buying. Like, it's somewhat of a niche market. People who do TCs like really love the activity of taking care of them, and acclimating them. And my favorite part of TCs is I can get them in the mail. They're almost always 100% fine, and I can leave those fuckers in the jar forever until I decide, okay, let's do something with this. That's my most favorite part, is and just having a little plant in a jar. It's a state, like, it's some people, when people come over to my house, that's one of the first things they ask me about, is like, what is this? And then I get to tell them, and then they're just mind blown of like, oh my God, a plant in a jar. Like, that's so cool.
it's a
Like,
fun
yeah.
experience to see that mind blow happen over and over again.
Yes, it is. It's really funny. And like, even like my brother-in-law, like every time he sees one, he's just like, this is just the coolest thing. It's just the coolest thing. And then you get to see its roots grow, and like you get to see, the leaves grow. Sometimes they die off, and like it's just like, I don't know. I really enjoy it. And it's just very clean. And so there's also no mess. I'm very particular. That's why I use moss, is because I hate messes. If my plant falls over and it's in moss, it's not going to make a mess. This plant's in a jar until I don't want it to be in a jar. No mess.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, where are we? Okay, so we're going to kind of get into a wrap up type part of the segment, and then also some advice. So everyone who's interested in learning more about plants or TCs, this is where you're really going to want to lock in and listen. So for anyone that's new here, what do you think is a good starter plant or plants for them to try out with TC?
For houseplants, anything that's non-variegated and not like basic non-variegated alocasia or philodendron will probably do the same. They just acclimate way quicker. They start photosynthesizing way quicker. They grow much easier. Once you start adding in high bar, it gets a little bit more finicky and more care is required.
And again, for anyone who might not know, what does unflasking and acclimation mean? Like, what is that?
So whoever wins this beauty, unflasking is basically the process of taking this out of the jar. And the acclimation period is because they're grown in sealed containers, essentially 100% humidity for their entire life since they were a little plant cell. They're only used to 100% humidity, so you can't just take it out and throw it into a growing environment that's 60% relative humidity, it's going to shock it so bad that you're likely to kill it. So the acclimation phase is this. It's very simple. You're just basically slowly getting it used to that lower humidity over a period of time.
And what period of like how long do you normally like acclimate them? And what's your like process?
Well, with the instructions that will go with this giveaway, and what I teach all my customers, it's about a 2 to 4 week process. You can make it more aggressive if you want to take on more risk in killing the plant. You can acclimate it quicker if you want to take on more risk, or you can go more gradual and take a longer period of time, and you'll have a higher success rate that way. So about roughly 2 to 4 weeks, depending on your process.
And then, so I do mine, normally it takes about 4 weeks, but I kind of forget sometimes. But do you like take the lid off for like, what do you start, 5 minutes a day?
Yeah, something like that. I forget what I have in my instructions, but it's like a baseline, like week 1, take it off for 15 minutes a day. Week 2, take it off for 30 minutes a day. Week 3, take it off for an hour a day, sort of thing. And you can slowly, you're exposing it to that lower relative humidity for a short duration. So you're shocking it, you're stressing it a little bit, so it can build up the tolerance to handle that new environment. It's essentially the entire process.
Yes. Okay. And so I know another thing that seems to maybe not confuse people, but people find more tricky, is like cleaning the TC off and making sure it's still in a sterile environment. Is the sterile environment really that important? Like, is that like this important part or no?
No, I think part of the reason why people are so afraid to try tissue culture is because there's a lot of misinformation out there. They think like, oh, it's made in a lab, it's got to be sterile. I don't want to mess this up, but it only has to be sterile to be created. Once it comes out, it doesn't need to be sterile anymore. It's a plant. So it's really not much. I mean, I literally rinse my gel off under tap water and throw it in a grow plug, and it's more about the environment, the temperature, and your control over the moisture that you're using, and your control over the humidity and getting it used to that new environment. That are the most important variables. The sterility of it, once you take it out, I mean, obviously you don't want to put it in a grow room filled with mold, but any other grow room will do for the most part.
Yeah, that is, I think, a huge piece that people get confused on is exactly that. I've seen people like sanitize their entire house, like their entire room, and they're using tweezers to like move it over here, and like they're trying to clean it off with a sterile like spoolie, and like they're working so hard to manage that I think they definitely do miss out on it's more the acclimation than it is because I've seen people ruin their like sometimes like their whole like batch of TCs, and they think it's because it was contaminated, and that's just not the case. Like, you just maybe weren't acclimating it correctly.
9 times out of 10, it's an environmental issue. It's either the humidity, the temperature, or how much moisture is moisture control in the medium that's being used. I mean, when you think about like large scale nurseries, or the companies that are producing plants for the entire country on a massive scale, you think they're spending an hour like doing all that stuff for every single one?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. So how often do you think you run into that where people are like, oh, how often do you have to retell people like that it's not about this like being sanitized, it's about the acclimation, and like really hone in on that? Like, where did that come from? That like, is it just because people think that it's a sterile thing, it has to be in a sterile location, or it's got to be used to the germs of a house? Like,
I think it mostly comes from sellers that sell tissue culture that don't produce them, and they don't have the proper education behind what they're saying. So they're just kind of regurgitating what they learned that may or may not be accurate. I think most of it comes from that. But if you talk to anybody that produces tissue culture or acclimates on a large scale, they'll basically say the same thing that I'm telling you guys right now.
Off the chart question, but how many like TC creators, I'm sorry, what'd you use the word for?
Producers?
Producers, sorry, yeah. How many TC producers do we have in the US?
There's a lot. There's quite a few now. I mean, I'm sure even before I came around, there are some mega producers. They're just not selling live on platforms like Palm Street.
Yeah, so we don't know
They're
them.
feeding stores like Home Depot and Walmart with their product
I see.
on a very large scale. But in terms of like smaller niche houseplant TC people, I know a handful of like up and coming OGs that are pretty impressive that know what they're doing, and then I see more and more popping up that are trying to get into it. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's good. So you're welcoming them. Like you're like, come on, like
For sure. I mean, the more plants we could produce in this country, the better. You know, the more jobs we can create, the more people we can learn to do things here instead of looking to other countries to send us stuff, the better.
Absolutely. No, I do agree on that. I really like that. It's kind of refreshing to have that because we're constantly like, oh, what does Thailand have? What does Indonesia have? What does China have? Like we are waiting, like we are chomping at the bit to like get some of these plants. And so if we were having, you know, people producing them in-house, that would be super awesome. And like I said, like I have no fear over, you know, I'm not a huge seller anymore, but I, you know, at one point was selling quite a bit. I had no fear because there's so many plants to go around. We can keep cultivating them, we can keep hybridizing them. Like there's so many things that you can do. I don't think you should be afraid of more people producing them. Like let's come on, let's get everyone into plants, and it's good for the environment. Like it's good to have in your home, to have a bunch of house plants in your home. Like your air quality is top notch. So like I'm serious. That's how I feel. So I guess we kind of went over like some of the biggest mistakes, and like the hardest part for people growing TC is normally the acclimation and getting that. Do you think that would be it?
I think the part that people struggle with the most is kind of what I said before, is people just like to overcomplicate things. And I noticed this when I work in the cannabis industry as well. It's like it's a lot simpler than you really think. People like to meddle with stuff, people like to tweak stuff. People, you know, I don't know. It's usually not nearly as difficult as you think it is, and it usually roots back to, like I said before, the environmentals, the temperature, humidity, and moisture content. Everything else is kind of just extra noise to me. Yeah.
Extra noise, yeah. No, it really is. So that's good. I'm happy. You know, I'll be able to. I've learned quite a few things today. So I'm happy that will be able to pass on that information correctly. But of course, whenever someone's asking me about TC, I'm just gonna be like, you go to Rytas, not me. Like I don't know why you're asking me this, but no, that's so yeah, the hardest things are acclimation. Do you think there's any like tried or true media that works the best with TCs?
I always suggest people that are starting. I mean, I make an acclimation mix and I sell it in my lines, but even like it's just to go with my acclimation kits. And I tell people that you buy one kit, it's going to teach you how to acclimate TC for life. You shouldn't ever have to buy a second one. But I always suggest when people are asking to use fluval stratum, and the reason is because fluval has it acts as a pH buffer. So someone that doesn't have you know, much of a growing understanding of, you know, using a pH meter or calibrating a pH meter, they don't have to worry about that as much with fluval because it acts as a pH buffer, and as well has some beneficial minerals as well that helps with acclimation. So if you're using moss, or if you're using, you know, cocoa, or, you know, perlite, if the pH is really off, it can mess up your TC, where you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, and where is the pH? Is it in the water? Is it in the like?
The water, yeah, the water.
Okay, and so is that something you suggest for people to do? Is test their pH balance in their water before using it, or is there like a bottled water that you suggest?
I mean, I suggest to do any type of growing, you should know where your pH is at or how to adjust it. But with TC, I mean, I've gotten bottles of distilled water from Walmart, and it's come in super high and it's come in super low. There's a lot of variance.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, of course it has.
So when you're dealing with people around the country using different tap waters, different distilled products, you never know what they're doing. So fluval kind of, cancels that out. You don't really have to worry about it too much.
Okay. Good. So yeah, fluval is a good one to use. I have like 4 or 5 bags of it, and I have probably close to 50 unflasked TCs right now. And so maybe I'll just use that with them because I don't use it for anything else. I'm so picky because the second it falls over, then it all gets everywhere, and then I get mad. So I normally don't use it. That's awesome. Um, so the last thing I want to go over is on how to keep it like low maintenance with TCs. I felt that they were a little high maintenance through the acclimation period. And high maintenance and low maintenance, everyone has their own opinion on it. But what do you think is the best rate or way to keep it lower maintenance?
Well, lower maintenance would be if you're acclimating one tissue culture in a cup like this. If you're acclimating 50 and they're all in cups like this, or you're just using a 50 cell seedling tray with the dome, you're doing the same thing for all 50 compared to 50 individuals.
For the seedling tray, should it be plastic, or because I know like Home Depot they sell seedling trays, but I don't think they'd work because they're like the paper ones that where you basically after they grow out you can throw them into the ground and then they break apart inside and it doesn't hurt the earth or whatever. So they should be plastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest using one of those for someone that's new. Definitely use like a plastic seedling tray with an insert that has drainage on the bottom. The insert that goes in, the plants go in, and then the dome on top with the humidity valves.
Do you sell those as well?
I do not the big ones. I do like the little 6 cell ones and the 12 cell ones.
The 6 cell ones. Okay, that's awesome. And where can they find all of that stuff? Can they find it on your website? Like where?
Palm Street mainly right now, but eventually
Palm Street.
Yeah.
Very cool. When is your next Palm Street Live?
It was supposed to be tonight after this, but I think I pushed it back till tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, well, if anyone else is watching, definitely. If you're not on Palm Street, you guys go ahead, download it. You can find plants, you can find ceramics, you can find so many things, reptiles, aquatics. We do now have aquatic fish, all sorts of shit. It's the best, and you guys get super cool coupons. So definitely check it out, and you can get a coupon to use on Micro's next show, which will be tomorrow morning or tomorrow night.
I think I have a show scheduled in the morning for houseplants, and I have an aquatic TC show scheduled for tomorrow night.
Oh, you do have an aquatic scheduled out. Okay. Do you want me to move you into like the reptiles too?
Sure. Yeah, try it out.
Yeah, you'll find some people there, I think. Okay, that'll be awesome. Anyway, guys, that is it for tonight. Do you have anything else to share with us?
Not really. It's been awesome. I'm glad that you're doing this. Someone had to do it eventually. I'm stoked it's you. It's nice to meet you.
There's, while doing this, I found of 2 other planty podcasts. Britt Parrish has one. She's not super consistent, but she will be. And then there is one other planty podcast. I want to bring them on. They're the cutest bunch of 3, so I'm excited to have them hopefully at some point. But yeah, I'm happy. There's not a lot of planty podcasts, and specifically not ones bringing on sellers to talk about the industry, what they do, and kind of how they've gotten here. So yeah, I'm happy, and I am very thankful that you've been able to be my guest, and hopefully you'll come on again in a year from now. I kind of just want to do a relap of everyone in a year to kind of see how you guys have grown from there. So I'm super excited to see what you bring on next time.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see the channel grow as well. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye, Rytas.
See ya.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you learned some. If you have any questions, you know where to find him. He'll be live on Palm Street. He also uses Whatnot. I also think he uses District app, as well as he has his own website, and you can find him on Instagram. It's been amazing, and I can't wait to see who gets to win that amazing Balloon Heart Alocasia and get your starter kit and get you all worked up, and you can get your first TC, or if it's maybe your second, third, or 40th TC. I'm super excited. So big shout out again to Microcultivate and Herb Collectors for bringing us here. And you guys have a good night. Until next time.
Still, step into the space where the roots run deep, where the sun meets the soil and the stories speak. Every leaf, every bloom got a tale to tell, from the lows in the dirt to the highs that swell. This is Grow House, yeah, we flourish and thrive, planting seeds of change, keeping dreams alive. It's more than just green, it's the life we create, breaking through the cracks, let's elevate. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all.